All right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. James, welcome. Welcome. I don't know if the sound effects are coming through. Let us know. You see how the signal here?
Yeah.
So, welcome. We are again going live as a test because we're going to be again. My name's Kenny. This is Carter. Phil, who's trying to get his setup to work. Phil, I've put you on screen. Currently testing his audio, and it's not coming through. So we're gonna go back here. So Carter and I are just experimenting with our gear. If you could see it, we got it in boxes. We're trying to experiment moving from place to place. So the last time we were live, we were at my house. We packed up. We timed it 45 minutes to pack it up.
Yep.
Took us, I don't know how long it.
Probably about an hour, a little over an hour.
Yeah, the stopwatch almost 2 hours to set up. So we're really trying to get it down to a science so that we could show up on site. Tomorrow's challenge will be trying something outside. We are experimenting now with bringing in Phil as a guest. As you can see, I can bring him on the screen. If we had somebody calling in. So that's kind of where we are today, and we thought we'd just go live and ask if anybody wanted to call in, ask us engineering questions like we had before. Anything that's on your mind, MEP related about a commercial building or commercial construction, give us a shout. We'll put a number.
Guess your number.
Yeah, we could put a link to this invite actually.
I wonder if they got like a call-in number for this program, kind of like Zoom has a call-in number, so people don't have to call your cell phone. Yeah, if you want to sell Kenny some extended car warranty or insurance policy,
we can have up to 10 guests. So I'm gonna put this in the chat, this link, and if you want to join, ask your questions, you can, and we can have you in as a guest. Of course. Here's the chat, and it's going out. There it is. It's not on LinkedIn though. There we are, live on LinkedIn. I'm going to put it in the comments. So in the comments, there is a link to Restream, which will be a way for you to, you click it, you can join in as a guest. I'm going to see where Phil is. Phil, do you hear us? Yes or no? Yeah. Okay. There you are. We just don't hear you.
Check.
Cool. Very nice. Very nice.
So you got that background blur effect would look sweet.
So this is pretty cool. The Restream app allows us to do a couple of cool things. We can stream to a mobile long form, or what do you call it? We can stream to cell phone platform. Anyway, so what's on today? We don't have any callers, so we can do like we did last time. We can just talk engineering. We have been dealing with fun RFIs. Today I went to a chapel with Evans Construction. There's a change in that project where we started we call it lift and shift in the HVAC world, where you just are changing the configuration of offices around, moving diffusers here or there. We get an architectural update, and they've added a conference room, a couple things that are going to add to the ventilation load. So we went around and walked them through the attic, and I was jealous the whole time because of the AV equipment in that church is absolutely amazing. They had cameras that were on my dream list to own, just sitting around, casual, like leftover cameras. So, yeah, it was a really cool survey. But the challenge on that one was in any HVAC design or change, when you start to take one space meant, like say, office for one person, and then suddenly want it to become a space for lots of people, like a conference room or an assembly area, then the code is going to require you to bring in a lot more fresh air. And if you've ever been outside an August hot day in Virginia, you know how hot the fresh air is and how humid it is, and so it has a tremendous impact on the ventilation. I mean, the mechanical system. There's a few tricks to the trade to kind of get around the impact, but ultimately, you're going to end up with some new equipment. So that's where I was at today. Carter, what kind of challenges have you faced?
Well, all the challenges that you just brought up impact the electrical drawings to some extent. You know, that mechanical equipment is no small load on our system. And oftentimes we got to make some branch circuit changes. You know, some panels, especially in an existing building, might be a little bit old or outdated. There's two main issues when you got an existing electrical panel, one of which is the load, proving that you're not overloading it. It gets especially difficult when you've got that panel being fed from another panel that's fed from maybe the main switch gear that's fed from a different part of the building. The farther downstream in the service you go, the more difficult it gets to prove that you're not overloading it for two main reasons. One is those feeders tend to get smaller and smaller, so the threshold for overloading it goes down. And then B, it's farther away from the main service point, which the one of the most common ways we use to prove that that's not overloaded is the utility bills. So once we get farther away, and then the second main issue is pole space. A lot of times those older panels, they're just completely tapped out on poles. So we're looking at maybe consolidating some branch circuits or replacing the panel, or maybe even adding a sub panel, especially for that mechanical equipment that's 2 or sometimes 3 pole breakers, takes up a lot of space pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I think a lot of times mechanical engineers get carried away. Even as an electrical engineer, first in my life, I forget that all of these decisions end up being like make or break for the electrical side of things. It's easy enough to add gas to a system.
Mhm.
You know, at the end of the day, it's a pipe back to the main. But electrical is very different, especially if you're trying to heat things up. The amount of copper, sheer copper it takes, or aluminum to deliver the amount of energy required to heat something up is underestimated from the mechanical side. A little bit of strip heat here and there, and then suddenly the service upgrade is inevitable. Luckily, on that project, there's plenty of gas, and there's
Good.
we'll be using gas if they went that direction. But yeah, so something to keep in mind if you're doing the theme of the day with questions related to can I use this building is well, are you going to change it use and is that new use assembly? I think that's the biggest red flag for MEP.
Mhm.
You end up tons of new HVAC required, and then all of that means whatever electrical service you had is likely non-suitable, and certainly none of the HVAC's usable. But yeah, as engineers, we get caught often in the well, we're not changing much
Mhm.
thing. Like, oh, we're just gonna try to keep it all. It's like, well, you can't do that if you're going to change your use. That's the
Mhm.
worst. The worst thing to try to make cheap, so to speak. Let's see, Phil. I'm gonna check in on Phil, see how he's doing. Still there. Still hanging out.
Yeah. Quiet.
There's a it's a computer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Computers are hard
Yeah.
sometimes.
Ooh, virtual background.
Yeah, that was on ours. Looks kind of good. Hang on.
Yes.
You there?
Yeah, actually. Cool. So we don't have much here. We're probably gonna keep this one relatively short. We're hoping to get Phil on. We'll have to hop off without bothering you guys and us figuring this out. So thanks for bearing with us. We are ultimately. I was reading a private message. We're ultimately just. You'll be seeing us going live as we build up to this. Showing up, asking if you want. You can call. You can be a guest. Feel free to use this time to talk to us or ask us engineering questions. But this isn't the real podcast quite yet. These are some experiments with us so we can test our equipment. We're going to be setting up in new scenes. Hopefully, with Carter tomorrow, we'll be somewhere cool like outside. It would be fun to try to see how that would work because we're going to be on site for a lot of these. I'm going to somehow have to figure out how to get some of this gear to Chicago and in general, figure out how to travel with it. So that's what we're experimenting with. There's always going to be that one cable we forgot. And right now, if you could see, we're getting better at it. Lighting, all that good stuff. So if anybody has any pro tips for podcasting equipment on the road, let us know. And we've already spent a good amount of money on what we have here, but
Mhm.
you know, there's probably some things that you guys know that could be helpful. In the meantime, you know, again, we're from Permazip. Kenny, Carter, Phil, we're all from Permazip, which is an MEP engineering firm. We are hosting the podcast tour. We are going to be talking about our consulting all along the way from our perspective as the MEPs, but also asking the perspectives of the architects, the general contractors, the lenders, the educators, everybody in the construction industry, and figuring out how can we become better at our jobs as the engineering consultants and what kind of things we could as a team in the industry do to improve the overall experience for everybody. So
Yeah, and in the meantime, I mean, we're engineers and we're licensed. So if you guys have any questions about engineering in general or for a specific project, we can't give any formal, guidance. But we can try to help, lead you in the right direction in terms of things that we've seen in the past.
yeah, let us help be nerds. And so that being said, I'm gonna practice. I don't think you can hear this music. Another technical difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
But if you could, it's such a jam. It's unfortunate. All right. Thank you for tuning into our beta test. We'll see y'all on the tour.
See y'all. See you next time.